I will introduce a little bit motivation behind the DBT and why we use DBT at work and how DBT work. So finally, I have some demo so we can have an overview and understand more about DBT and some key takeaway and discussion. So when I joined the retail company for doing digital transformation, besides the people, process, and the technologies will be handled by tech team. Firstly, company use Excel. As you can see here, everyone working with Excel, but Excel cannot handle larger data. And if we have multiple data sources such as e-commerce, online, offline, or other CRM platform, we get difficulties in integrate the data to build a centralized dashboard. So we move to data warehouse, which can handle multiple data source. As you can see, we can tracking data from CRM, working with delivery partners, or extracting data from ERP, or even track the user behaviors from Google Analytics or Marketplace. For example, here, as the data analytics daily job, we will try to extract multiple data sources. And each data sources, we will have lots of tables. So if we try to modeling all the table for specific reports, for example, financial reports or marketing campaign performance report, we will drag and drop. But it will create issues when the data is very large. We cannot handle big data, which is volume very large, such as we cannot analyze 10 gigabyte of data of 5 years of data. And if we have multiple data sources, which is in many different formats, like JSON, like XML, yeah, it's very difficult for data analytics to working with. And for real-time analytics and making decision in real time, yeah, we cannot do it on Excel or even the data warehouse. So this is the technical issues. How can we handle that? Data analytics team will need support from data engineer, which is we do it last decades. Extract, transform, and load. We call it ETL. So data engineer will look at to the data source and extract multiple tables and do a lot of transformation in between before loading to data warehouse. So data analytics can make use of the clean and ready to analyze data. But the problem is that when the business use case changes or the requirements of the reports change, or any other issues like incorrect data or duplicate data or missing data, data analytics have difficulties in communicate with data engineer because two members cannot understand what they are doing and what the requirements. So it took a lot of time to generate a simple reports such as revenue or marketing campaigns, and at least 2 weeks of lead time to meeting and reports. So how can we elaborate collaboration and make the process more easier? For example, here we can see that data engineer have many challenges, such as if we trying to share our SQL script to our members, it's very difficult to read. Like we don't know where to start, how to read this from the beginning. And if we would like to verify or test the data model here, how can we do it? We go to and we write script and maybe many error prone. And yes, that's why we need another way to work. Easier life for data engineer and easy collaboration with data analytics. And in digital transformation, after COVID-19, we need to move fast. So every business right now would like to apply data-driven culture and advanced analytics so that they can make some advanced reports like marketing reports, financial reports, demand forecasting, or recommendation engine, so that business can make customer more happier and improve the process of the business. But with ETL, we cannot do that. It's very troublesome, and it will create a lot of time consumption. So we need another way. So DBT is the game changer for data analytics team. DBT stands for Data Build Tool, which is a ELT approach. We not do ETL, we do ELT for advanced analytics. The idea from DBT is that to improve the process of development and communication, we can look at the other domains like front end. We move from imperative is jQuery to declarative to use React JS to manipulate the front end more easier. The other domain is cluster orchestration. We have used Hadoop to manage the large cluster for big data. But right now, DevOps team can use Kubernetes. So we move from imperative to declarative. So similarly, the data team need to move fast by not focus on job and operations anymore. We need to focus on data modeling. So that's why DBT will support data engineer or data analytics for focusing on modeling, not the lower level of coding anymore. The DBT philosophy is that we have four main ideas. Firstly, DBT will eliminate the DDL and DML coding style. Like we need to create table, we need to create views, we need to write Python script to copy data from location A to location B. That's took a lot of time. So DBT will help us to eliminate this step. And the second component of DBT is that it will apply the philosophy try, don't repeat yourself, which is we can modularize our model and reuse it across the team. We can write macros, we can package it into a library so the other team can reuse. And another important one is model versioning, which is very critical in software development. If we don't detect any changes or roll back to the other version, it's very difficult when we move to development environment to production environment. And finally, the data quality or data contract control. We can write tests for our data models very quickly and easily. Yeah, so DBT, the idea is that we apply ELT, which is data engineer will focus on how to extract the data from multiple data sources and load it to a single source of truth, which is our data warehouse or data lakehouse. If we have a higher technologies we would like to apply. So everything will be transformed inside the data warehouse. And DBT have a lot of community supports and multiple courses, so we can easily to get started. And after the raw data had been transformed to more usable transform data, we can use any interface like API or visualization dashboard or Power BI to start to mining our data. To use DBT is very simple. So here is 3 steps we can do. Firstly, we write business logic in simple SQL file. For example, we can modeling star schema, fact sales, dimension of products, or dimension of daytime, etc. So DBT will help us second step, which is compiling all the models into data lineage. Data lineage here can help us tracking the issues. If there is any problem, we can understand that this model is the combination of the previous models. So we can easily debugging or resolving or troubleshooting the issues more quickly. And finally, we start to build and compile. So from the logical SQL file, we can generate to table and views in data warehouse more easily. Today demo, I will demonstrate a simple report, which is calculate monthly sales values by category. Speaking in technology is grouped by month, by category, and sum of sales value by month. The tech stack I will use is DBT, Databricks as the computing layer, and Azure Blob as a data lakehouse. And the data I use for demonstrate is a public data set coming from Kaggle, is Brazilian e-commerce data set. You can refer to GitHub for more details and watch the YouTube I have recorded for the demo, so you can reproduce more easily. So here our target. We would like to see the reports of each month of each category. And the metrics we try to measure is total sales and total bills. And the infer column is values per bills, which is equal total sales divided by total bills. A small introduction to data lakehouse. I try to simulate the data lakehouse, which is we can use multiple data source in multiple data format and with some meta store to create a table from multiple data source. So we can use the computing power from Databricks to generate reports. So here the data lakehouse. I will create use for tables here, the orders, item, payments, the products information. And each of table I will simulate as a Delta format, as a Alpha format, Parquet, or JSON. So we can understand that the data lakehouse can manipulate multiple data source in multiple formats. So here's the syntax. You can refer later, but that's the idea. We can create an external table so that we can point to the data we have mounted to the data lakehouse. And after we prepare all the EL, we can start to the transformation, which is the DBT. Let me share the video instead. You can see my video sharing.
I think so. Well,
okay.
Now, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, firstly, how to start with DBT. So firstly, we can install the DBT packages, which is a DBT for Databricks. If you have any other kinds of data warehouse, we can use DBT for Redshift, for BigQuery, for Snowflake. DBT support many data warehouse or data source platform, so we can install appropriately. So we can start initialize the project by use command dbt init. dbt will automate asking us the metadata information, which is what is the name of your project, what is the connection you would like to use. In this case, I will use number one is Databricks. So you will provide your information from Databricks, the host name, the HTTP path, and the token to access the Databricks computing power. And finally, you giving information about the schema. You would like to transform the data inside Databricks. So that's it. It will generate a profiles.yaml, which is include all the information inside. And firstly, the DBT projects will generate list of files and folders, similar like this. The centralized modeling will be in the models folder. In this case, DBT will initialize for us two models, the my first DBT model.sql and my second DBT model.sql. After we have the model, for example, we can look at my first DBT model as SQL. We remember that the first step is modeling. In this example, DBT will use CTE, common table expression, to generate example data. So in this case, DBT will generate a table named my first DBT model, have one column ID, and the first record is 1, the second record is no, and it will materialize table. You can see the logging that DBT can generate the table and the view. If we try to test the quality of the table, we can run DBT test. So in this case, we see that my first DBT model is failed because of the not known information described in the schema.yaml. So in the future, if we like to define a data contract or define data quality testing, we can list it here in schema.yaml, or you can write your customized test case in the test folder. But for in this demo, I will use the simple one. I will define in schema.yaml. So we can see that ID, test, unique, and not null. As we remember, my first DBT model is have a record is null. So we fix it by going to my first DBT model and ignore the ID, which is null. So we rerun again. After regenerate my first DBT model, we test again and it should be passed. Another use case is that we can upload a reference table such as the product category or any Excel file converted to CSV. We can use DBT Sheet to upload our file to data warehouse. So in this case, it will upload the product category name translation into our data lakehouse. So as we can see, we have go through philosophy of the DBT. The first one is will free us from DDL and copy and paste by moving data around. DBT will support us to eliminate the DDL. it will automatically create table and create view. And also we can control the quality of data by writing tests, even by using schema.yaml or writing custom tests in a test folder. And another one is that it supports model versioning. So this project is tracking by Git control, Git repo. So if there's any changes, we can update and let the team know something changes. And finally is the data lineage. DBT support DBT docs generation, which is generate the data lineage across multiple data source and data table. So we can generate and we can DBT docs serving. It will open up a web browser. Here is the web UI if we run the DBT docs. So we can navigate around our models, see the source, the compiling, the metadata of our model. To view data lineage, we can move our mouse into the bottom right to click on that. And it will show our first data lineage. So we see that my first DBT, my second DBT, depending on my first DBT, so that we can see a arrow from my first to my second. And the other one is product category name, which is not linked to any data model yet, so it will stand alone here. So after we have a common idea about DBT works, we can move to our advanced analytics, which is calculate monthly sales by category per month. So let's go quickly. I will create a external table. DBT support us a library to manipulate our model. In this case, I will use external DBT tools to pointing our data source to external table, which is all the items dataset.delta. So I will use the command provided by DBT operation to generate external table inside Databricks. So when we inspect the other items, we can view the DDL generated by our DBT utility. It's very similar to our manually coding SQL script. We can see that DDL have created table from high meta store inside Brazilian ecom schema for Olist items, and using delta format location from DBFS and other properties of the table. So the browse layer, the silver layer, and gold layer will be used for this demo. The browse layer, I will point to 4 tables of the Kaggle dataset. The silver layer, I will try to modeling star schema. I will create a dimension for products, which is the combination of a products table and the product category table to get the product ID and the product category name. These two tables choice by product category name. We use the ref syntax here to point to to reference to our previous model, which is the Olist products and the product category name. Another table I would like to create is fact for sales, which is the combination of orders, order items or order details, and order payments for tracking the sales value of our models. So similar to dimension products, we can use reference to our previous model. And for order items, it is an external table and managed by the sources in schema.yaml. So we can use a source from Brazilian ecom or list order items to reference to our models. And finally, our goal layer is our report, which is sales values by category. So the idea is that we will get the fact sales and convert it to daily and try to calculate category by monthly, which is convert the daily into monthly and then group by monthly and category. So we can compute the sales, the total bills, and then we can get the values per bill, which is our goal for this demo. Similarly, after we finish step number 1, writing SQL script logic for business operation, we start to compile the script, which is your DBT run. So when everything is okay, we can see that DBT help us eliminate the step to write the DDL script to generate view and tables and copy the data from point A to point B automatically. So first of all, I go to the fact sales. I will see all the information we have modeling inside DBT. And the final output sales values per category. So for each month, first of all, in May 2018, category health and beauty have total sales 135, 100, total bill is 69, 100. So finally, we would like to see our data lineage by using DBT docs generation. Yeah, we can see that the sales values by category is generated by the combination of dimension products and the fact sales. And the dimension products and fact sale is we created by other tables of previous models. So we can have a full picture of our data modeling. And we can use this data lineage to communicate with data analytics or other business stakeholders of what is going on behind the scene of what we are doing. We can understand that these reports be generated by this. For more information to use this, we can use this data lineage to navigate our graph. For example, here we can use syntax plus lim products. This syntax means that we would like to see all the parents models of the dimension product. So we can expect that dimension products is a combination of the products table and the product category table. Similarly, if we would like to see the downstream table, we can add a plus sign after the dimension products to see the graph. If DBT stop at automatic generate DDL and drawing data lineage, it's not make DBT more powerful. The most powerful one is that DBT can support us to write macros, which is a modularized one to reuse for other modeling. And from that simple macro demo here, we can see that DBT have a community to support our data engineer or data analytics to generate SQL script more efficiently and more powerful. In this example, I will create a macro named classify the total bills inside class of ABCD. So it's just a simple case when syntax. Given a column name, we will automatically classify the value of this column into ABCD. If the total bills are less than 100, it will classify as D. If the total bills less than 200, it will classify as C. Similarly for B and A. Yeah, for use the macros inside our models, we can put the classify ABC here and adding the parameter total bills column name here to generate the script. So we can start to run to build the model again. In DBT, it will have a target folder, which is the generated or the compiled models. This is an actual script used for generating a table inside our data warehouse. So in this example, we can see that our macro have been written will be automatically generate the parameter total bills into actually a SQL script. So we can inspect our output, which is the class column. So the this fashion sport category will be classified as D because the selling less than 100 total bills. Similarly for class A, B, and C. So when the business use case changes, the report would like to see the category across the monthly, not by row, but by column. In Excel, we can do it very easily by using pivot operations. But for writing SQL script, it will tricky. But luckily, we have DBT utilities support us to pivot table by using a simple function, which is called dbt.pivot. This pivot function will have a sophisticated documentation on the DBT utils. But for now, we can understand the idea that we would like to pivot the table sales values by category using monthly as the column. And what is the column values coming from? It is coming from the sales value by category. And what is the value we would like to pivot? We use total bills, and the aggregation operation is using max because we would like to get the latest values from the table. And we will group by the category. After generate, we will verify our script by open the target script. We can see that the DBT utilities will generate it for us a list of lots of lines of code. The idea is that we will group by a category and get the value from monthly values, which is generated automatically by DBT utils because get all the values from our table. For example, we have December of 2016, January of 2017. It will generate it automatically. So this is our output if we apply pivot table. Instead of reading as a row by row, we can examine our category by column. For example, as the bed bath table, we have sales total bill for December 2016 is 6, another month is 43, 143, etc. It's very difficult if we write a SQL script manually. Okay, let's get back. So other than that, we can search on DBT packages to getting all the utilities we want to apply to our projects, which is more advanced, or even machine learning models can loading to DBT to make the inference. And here the final output of our data model. We can inspect the data lineage. We can go to Databricks to inspect our high meta store. So yeah, reading more information about the data table we have generated by DBT. So lots of technical information, but the key takeaway is very simple. We would like to use DBT because will help us analyze and modeling table very easy. And we can checking data quality and testing data quality more consistently. In DBT community from 2016 until the moment, DBT have been used a lot by data team right now. And the only concern is that we need to advance our skill in SQL script. We need to understand SQL so that we can write an efficient aggregate function or choice function by using SQL language. And it may cause performance overhead if we don't understand what behind the operation of SQL. Yeah, finally, some other topic to discuss is that the emerge of analytics engineer, which is a new role, which is who can communicate with the business team and also writing engineer transformation using SQL script. And another topic is interesting right now is model contract, which is we need to verify the input data, whether or not we can process the computation for the downstream so that the other team can communicate with each other when something has changed, so that we can have consistent and more accurate data output. And we can take a look more the cloud integrations from DBT to other sources. Yeah, that's my sharing from my experience of using DBT. In my story, when going to a company which is non-tech and trying to do digital transformation, which is very painful because we need to communicate with non-tech people and trying to help the people to understand more the data-driven and advanced analytics. DBT will help us reduce the cost of writing script, reduce the time consumption when communicate with other partner. Yeah. With DBT, instead of writing ETL for 2 to 3 years, we can use DBT to write script in weeks or months to roll out our products more effectively and more quickly. Okay, that's all the sharing today. We can go to the Q&A session. I can answer.